recording. It's our lecture CMIN 101. And the first outcome deals with hardware and software. All right, so you should be able to see on your screen hardware and software. Give me a minute or two while we wait for some students to access our team. I'm getting some WhatsApp messages that students are finding it difficult to access. During my lecture, I generally don't have the cell phone on, but in this instance, I think it's important that I do. All right, so let's start. Now, one of the sections that we have to cover in terms of our course material and our learner guide and our outcomes and aims has to do with hardware and software. That applies to, in terms of our computing, the theory behind it. Right? This is marks for jam, easy marks that you're going to get. Okay. Now, I understand that some of you may be computer literate. In fact, I hope you are. This will be an easy section for you, easy marks. Yes. Our course is basically a programming course. Again, I haven't decided whether it's C or C++ programming, but we will, in the course of next week or the following week, decide whether we're going to go with C programming or C++ programming, and what IDE we're going to be using, and what compiler we're going to be using. But before we get to that, we have to deal with, like I said, the theory, hardware, and software. And again, I'm assuming that you don't know anything about computers. So if I'm going a bit too slow, or if I'm going kind of fast, bear with me. Now, the next slide, it talks about a computer. By the way, I've emailed you the PowerPoint presentation. I've also uploaded it to our Telegram group. And I think I also uploaded it to our WhatsApp group. But for now, I will pretend as if you haven't read it, because I think I did it in the last couple of hours or so, a few minutes. So let's go through the definition of a computer. A computer is an electronic device that accepts data input, processes the data, and generates output. Now, the reason I like this definition is it has the elements of input, processing, and output. That is the basic components of a program. Any program that you have to write should have input, processing, and output. That'll take place in our IDE. Here's my computer system. The computer system has an input device. It has an output device. It has communication devices. It stores my programs or my, my data and the processing that takes place. Keep this in mind when I am teaching you programming. We will have to have input statements, some output statements. We'll have to store our program, and you'll have to email me the program using a communication device, or basically WhatsApp or even Telegram, right? Hardware components, you can go over the instruction phase where you fetch the instruction, you decode it. Execution phase, again, reading knowledge. Reading knowledge, execution of an instruction. What is this thing called an ALU? What's a register, memory, control unit? Now, if I was doing computer literacy, then I would have simply said, hey, I would have, I got a message to say that guests are waiting in the lobby. What is that all about? All right. I'm going to be able to talk about control unit, ALU, register. ALU is the arithmetic logic unit. Okay. Let's see how many participants are here. I have 21 participants in this meeting. Now a digital meeting. This is cool. And I'm going to download this register. And I generally download the register at the beginning of the lecture and at the end of the lecture, or somewhere in between. Okay, so I'm continuing. Number of bytes. Now this is important because when you are writing programs, you can't write a program and expect to be stored on a mobile device when your program is 1 gig in size. It's also part of an easy question and answer for our first makeup test. I won't call it a makeup test, it's actually a real test. So 1 byte is equal to 8 bits. A kilobyte is 1024 bytes. This is basically storage. Now, you are University of Technology students. I'll expect you to go and read up on this. What's a gigabyte, terabyte, petabyte? Types of memory. Now you get 2 types right now for our purposes, RAM and ROM. What's dynamic random access memory and read-only memory? Random access memory, you can think of it as being volatile. So it needs electricity to keep it refreshed. ROM, on the other hand, if you store something in ROM, read-only memory, guess what? It kind of stays in there, right? You can have programmable read-only memory, erasable programmable read-only memory. Now, I'm not going to go through every definition. I think you should be able to Google some of these definitions and find out what it is all about, right? Basic types of memory chips. There's it: RAM, ROM, SDRAM, DRAM, PROM, programmable read-only memory. Here's the words I've been mentioning: volatile and non-volatile. Think about one will require electricity to keep it refreshed, the contents of its memory. The other one can do without it. Secondary storage and output devices. Storage devices, we're talking magnetic tapes, magnetic disks, optical disks, memory cards, your flash drive, and I should have included something related to cloud storage. By the way, the reason I'm using Telegram is that our messages are stored in the cloud. Right? That's secondary storage. Oh, some of these things are ancient right now. Any of you seen a stiffy disk? Any of you used a CD-ROM? This is your hard disk drive. This is basically what it looks like inside your PC. Our storage, talking about, oh, hello, is someone's mic unmuted? Someone has a question for me. Okay, there we go. I muted everybody. Right, so we're talking about hardware. We're talking about cloud storage. That's what it basically is. Looks like computer 1, computer 2, computer 3. It has some type of storage facility. Either it can be on a, yeah, there's my stiffy disk. There's my CD-ROM. Here's my tape drive. Oh, that's pretty old. DVD player. Oh, compact disc. You don't even have laptops and computers with CD-ROMs and DVD-ROMs, DVD writers and all anymore. Expandable storage. Comparison of secondary storage. Consider this your history lesson. Your floppy disk drive stored 1.44 megabytes. I don't think any of you would ever remember that. We call it a stiffy drive. I started computers in 1986, and there we had a 360 kilobyte, right? Input devices, you have your personal computer that can basically talk to your computer, and it will be able to access the drive. Voice recognition devices, you have a computer that is able to basically, give me a minute. I just want to, 1 second. I'll wait for any questions. Let's see if there's any questions. Right, there's no questions. Oh, I thought there was a question coming up. All right, let me continue. So our other input devices are our scanning devices, right? Again, this is a nice question for the test. Input devices, and I'll ask you for examples of input devices. Let's go on. We're doing well for time. And page down. A PC equipped with a computer camera. Aha! This you should all know about, your little camera. Okay? Now I basically switched off my camera and I'm not, well, you can't see me. Believe it or not, I'm at home, I'm in the bedroom, and here I am giving a lecture to you on Microsoft Teams. Some other things with regard to output devices, a monitor, your screen. What's LCD? Liquid crystal display, your printers. Laser printer. You know, when I started computers in 1986, a laser printer cost about 20,000 rands. This is in 1986, 20,000 rands was lots of money. Today, you can pick up a laser printer for, I think, a couple. Great, no questions. You can unmute your mic and please feel free to ask me a question or to pose it in the chat. Okay, now, like I was talking about the laser printers, in today's terms, we're talking about a 3D printer. 3D printers cost, megabucks, pretty expensive. I guess in about 10 years' time, you'll be telling me, hey, sir, the 3D printer you were talking about, well, now we can pick it up for a few hundred rands. Let's go on. Come on, move up. Right. So types of computer systems, your handheld, your notebook, your laptop, your network, your desktop. Each one, look at the criteria. When I say criteria, I mean the processing speed, the cost, and how it is used. Our laptop, the speeds are, well, this is megahertz. We're talking gigahertz today, okay? And how many users would be able to access the computer and use it at any one time? So your laptop, you're basically looking at one person, one user. Our network computer is using at 50, 60, 70, maybe hundreds of users. Software. Now, a clear distinction must be made between hardware and software. In this course, I am going to be talking to you about software, not hardware. I'm not going to be teaching you how to basically fix a computer as such, right? I'll be teaching you how to program a computer. And I think I'm leaning towards C programming. And we'll be basically trying to get the computer to answer our instructions, what we want it to do. We're not going to be dealing with system software. In a way, you can think of it as application software, C programming. But again, I will not be doing word processing. I will not be doing spreadsheet or Excel programming or database programming for that matter. Right, system software, but you need to have an overview of what this is all about. This course is called Computer Skills. And when I first saw it, I thought to myself, gosh, computer skills? No, man, I teach programming, not computer skills. But then I was reminded that programming is a skill. I am using a computer. So yeah, maybe I am with computer skills. System software, we're talking operating system. The operating system deals with the hardware functions of the computer. So if you had to install a new printer, that's what the operating system will be talking about, dealing with. The operating system provides a user interface. Now, I am a user. The computer is what I want to work with. The operating system is the go-between that software on the computer and me. Think of it like this. If you had to be in a car and you're driving the car, and you want to communicate with the gearbox to change the gears, then you'll have to press the clutch. That's an interface. That's what the word interface means. And you can go on reading all the rest. What's the role of the operating system? There we go. That's what I mean by it's the go-between, the interface between the users and the hardware. Application programs. Now, again, the application programs that we talk about is Word, Excel, PowerPoint, database system. That's not what I'm going to be dealing with. I'm going to be talking about programming. And operating system, there's examples of operating system. I don't think any of you will remember Windows 98. That's like 22 years ago. I remember Windows 98. I even remember Windows 95. And guess what? Windows 95 came out in 1995. I don't know whether any of you remember DOS, D-O-S, Disk Operating System. MS-DOS stood for Microsoft Disk Operating System. That was around about mid-1980s, somewhere there. Again, look at the operating system and look at the criteria on each operating system. How many concurrent users can we have is one criteria. Here are work group operating systems. When we talk of a work group operating system, we're talking about a number of concurrent users on the system. We're not going to be dealing with this, but you need to know about it. Application software. This looks familiar. Microsoft Word. This also looks familiar. Excel. I don't know if this looks familiar to any of you. This is Microsoft Access. Yeah. Graphics programs. No, this doesn't look familiar to me. But for our purposes, this is an example of an application software. Now, what's a software suite? In terms of our license at DUT, the software suite that we have is Office 365. So that has a number of, if I could call it, components to it. You'll have Word, Excel, PowerPoint, and Microsoft Access. But you also have other software suites. You can go and read up on that, right? Enterprise application software. Ooh, this looks cool. Payroll software. I think there's pastel accounting somewhere here. But again, we're not going to be dealing with that. We're going to be talking about programming. Now this is pretty important. This is a summary of the programming languages. A number of generations in terms of us working on computer programming. The first generation dealt with zeros and ones. It was machine language programming. That's like pretty old. When I say old, I don't mean like the 15th century and 14th century old. I'm talking about 1960, 1970 old. And we come to what we are working in at present, object-oriented languages. There we go. Can you see there C++, C#, Java? Those are examples of object-oriented programming. We're going to be dealing with one of them. I'd like it if you could read all of this, right? Now, sometimes students will ask me, sir, what's my homework? Your homework, my dear students, is whatever work we cover, you should be going over that on your own. Today's homework was how to access the Telegram group. By the way, I think it was Eric that informed me that I had created a channel, not necessarily a group. So I need to create a group and probably add you to that group, and then I'll be able to allow you to, type out messages and communicate with each other. At present, in the channel, only I can send out messages to you, and not the other way around. But that's a story for later. Okay, so in terms of summary, hardware devices work together to perform input processing, data storage, and output. Keep this in mind when I talk to you about programming. Computer program should have the components of input, processing, data storage, and output. The categories of software that we are talking about is system software and application software. We're going to be talking about programming, right? There are a number of generations of computer programming languages. A computer programming language that we're going to be dealing with is either C or C++ programming. Okay, that basically concludes the PowerPoint presentation. Now, what I'm going to do is I'm going to stop sharing my screen, and I'm going to allow you to ask me a question or two. All right, let's see how many students are in the class. I've got 31 students out here. Oh, this is cool. Yeah. Do I have a question from anyone of you? Please ask me a question. I've been talking for, let's see, 27 minutes and counting, because that's how long the recording is. Yes, I have a question from B. Gray. It says, with all that's been said, please give a brief overview of what CMIN is all about and what we will be learning about and need to expect. That's a great question. Okay, so CMIN is a computer skills course. And the skill that you're going to be learning is how to program the computer in a high-level language. I hope that answers your question. All right, that's very briefly what we will talk about. The next question says, we will not deal with JavaScript or Python. No, we're not dealing with JavaScript or Python. But the skills that you acquire in this course, you can transfer it to Python. All right, let me try and share my screen and see if I'm able to access my, let me go and access the guide. So, study guide for computer systems, CMIN 101, and that should answer your question dealing with what we are covering in this course. All right, in this course, let's see. Right, so the first section that we dealing with, I'm not sure if you're able to see my screen or not. Let me share it again. All right, so the first section spoke about computer hardware and software. And that's what I basically covered in this lecture. But there's a little bit more to it. In the next week, I'm supposed to be covering things like IPO diagrams, algorithms, not necessarily Visual Basic programming or the .NET environment. We'll decide on what that is. All right? We'll be talking about programming languages and the if statement, decision statement. That's about it. Loops, data structures, variables, and characteristics. Thank you for that question. I hope I've answered it. So Python and C languages are almost similar. That's a nice question. Let me answer it to you like this. I've been in programming for a pretty long time, 1986 to be precise. That's, whoa, that's like, over 30 years or so. Anyway, all programming languages that I've worked with have an assignment statement, they have decision-making statements, they have looping structures. What changes is the syntax. So let's say, for instance, in C++ programming, to display a line of code, I'd use the word cout, which is basically console out. But in another language, I'd use the statement printf to display statements on screen. I'm still having the output statements displaying statements on screen or to the printer, but the syntax is different. For example, in English, I'll say good morning, but in Afrikaans, I'll say goeiemôre. The language is different, but I mean the same thing. I want to greet you. That's how you must think of languages, computer languages. Python and C are different languages, but their syntax and the meaning out of it changes. But what we want to do, it should and be the same. All right, does that answer your question? In Makanya, do I have another question? Do I have another question? Okay, if I don't have another question, then I'm going to attempt to share my screen again. And this time I want to share the Telegram app. I'm not sure if you'd be able to see it, but I'm going to try. Right, I'm going to try to share my Telegram screen. Let me see if I can do that. My Telegram screen. Great. So this is my Telegram screen. I'm trying pretty hard to be able to access your messages. And I've had to actually create a new group, CMIN 101. I realized that my previous one was a channel. And in the channel, I was unable to receive messages from you. Now I'm going to attempt to share the group with you. And it says a group can have up to 200,000 members. Oh my, this is pretty good. Right, public links such as the title. Wow, that's great. So maybe I should share this with you. I don't know how to do that now. By the way, it's only been a week that I've been playing around with this. But with WhatsApp, oh, that I've been doing it for years. All righty, so we'll do that from now till the next lecture. And in the next lecture, we're going to be starting with programming. Oh, yes, I've got a question. Hello, who am I talking to?
It's N Makanya.
Hello, Mr. N Makanya.
Yes, to share you have to click on add members.
Oh, is that so?
Yes.
Let me do that. I'm on the screen right now, and it says, Mr. Makanya, where do I find that?
You go to your top, yes, there, and then click view or add members. Yes.
Oh, okay.
Yes.
All right, but I think I'll have to have your name stored on my cell phone. Isn't that so?
Or you can go to view group info, same as WhatsApp. So.
All right, let's see where's view group info. Okay, great, right? And then
click the add members there. No, go down to your 2 members there, down there,
Yes.
and then click the first that says 2 members. Yes, right there. It
Right.
doesn't show. But on the phone, it's easy, but here, I think it's hard. On the
Okay.
phone, it's easy. Just share.
Yes,
You
I'm using it
just
on the
share.
laptop. All
Oh,
right, Mr.
okay.
N. Makanya, what's your first name, if I may call
It's
you?
Charles.
Charles. Okay, Charles. This is I got this is easy to remember. Charles N. Makanya. Let me associate, just like the royal family, Prince Charles. Okay, cool, Charles. Right. Okay, Charles. I'm going to make you an administrator. All right, Charles. And if you could add the members in there, how do I do that? Oh, I know what. I'll add your name on my phone. Is that a good idea, Charles?
Yeah, it's a good idea, sir. I've been texting you anyway.
Oh, yes, I know. I'm sorry. I was busy preparing for this lecture and I saw all those messages. I will sort it out. Let me go and add you as a member. I'm going to say Charles, Charles. What's your phone number, please, Charles?
079.
079.
But I can add you. I can make a group and then add you, sir, and then make you a group admin.
In Telegram.
Yes, sir.
Oh, that'll be great. Charles, I love that. That'll be lovely. Super cool. And then you would be able to send messages and I would be able to send messages, as well as
Yes,
all
sir,
the students.
exactly. Yes, sir. I have already tested it. It works.
Oh, you're a star. And now I'm also learning about this, Charles. So the one I created is a channel. And in a channel,
Yes.
you are unable to receive messages from the recipients or the members.
Yes, sir. You cannot receive any messages.
There's a little pen icon. Apparently, that's also out there. I can't seem to find that pen icon.
PMI.
PEN, no, a pen icon, an icon that looks like a pen.
Okay. I haven't seen it.
Oh, okay, doesn't matter.
Yes, sir.
Okay, but for now, I'm so happy. We've had 2 lectures so far. The first lecture was an introduction. We spoke about, I got to meet you guys. The second lecture, we spoke about hardware and software. And the third lecture, we're going to start programming. By the way, Charles, have you all started your second semester lectures for your engineering subjects?
Not yet. So it's only this one.
Okay, so I'm ahead, that means. That's cool. Do you know when you're starting your engineering subject?
No.
No. Oh, man.
Yes.
Okay, doesn't matter. I like to have a head start because just in case students start protesting, oh no, they can't protest because all online. Okay, you know I'm recording all of this. I should have stopped the recording because now Charles and I are having a chat. Okay, I'm going to stop the recording because then our video becomes too long. Right, great. I'm stopping.